Hello, hello, and welcome to Millionaires Are Made, where we believe that you can and should be a millionaire in all six aspects of health. That's right, it's not just about a big bank account, it's also about improving your physical health, your mental health, your social health, obviously your financial health, intellectual health, and today we're going to focus on being a millionaire in spiritual health. We're going to learn about the topic of yoga and how to improve your spiritual health with yoga. We've got three awesome guests that are going to come give us a little piece of advice to improve our spiritual health. If you've never seen Millionaires Are Made, first off, you're crazy. Second, thanks for coming and welcome. This is a show that's built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something that you don't. And there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. In the spirit of authenticity, we try to remove as much bias and persuasion, and that means that the host, me, doesn't even meet or know about our guests until about 30 minutes before the show, and we do not talk about our tips or anything. So what's going to happen is going to be their real tips on their life journeys, and we're very interested to see on how we can improve our spiritual health with yoga. If you are watching this in the audience, thank you so much. We love you. It's awesome watching this show grow, but we also want to hear from you. If you ask questions on any of the mediums, we monitor it and we will ask it live and put our guests on fire so they can check it out and you can get real-time answers to your questions. Feel free to leave us as many comments and ask as many questions as you want. We'll try to get to them all and hopefully give you some answers that you need. And if you have an expert little piece of advice that you want to share with the world and help everyone grow, we'd love to have you on as a guest. We're going to drop the link right now, www.millionairesaremade.com. You should see the link show up as well. Sign up. Come be a guest on our show. Share your knowledge. Help the world grow. And feel good about doing good things. Also, if you are struggling in life right now, maybe financially it's tough. We all know it's tough for everyone. Maybe you're a little lost spiritually. Maybe socially, you feel like you have no close friends. Something. If you have a topic or a problem, send it to us. You can email us or DM us if you want to keep it anonymous or private. We will go and through an entire show with your topic, find three awesome guests, and give you some tips and advice to hopefully get you through that moment in your life. Also, audience, we love you so much. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, send stars, whatever social media you're watching us on. Definitely helps us keep going and helps us grow and share more knowledge to the entire world. And if you do love this show and you love all the advice, I also love giving back. I do one-on-one growth sessions and we do offer free coaching. So that link's being dropped there. You can sign up whenever you want. Come talk to me one-on-one. All I do is spend my whole life with people smarter than me, like we're about to meet. So I can hopefully help you a little bit or at least point you in the right direction. And last but not least, we're going to go over some awesome. I want to shout out a couple of our audience members. Thank you so much for following us on Facebook, Kelly Swanson, Instagram, Shelby Field. You're amazing. Thanks for following. TikTok, Tim Reiner, and on YouTube, Christian Sloan. You guys are amazing. Thank you for following us and helping us with our journey. Next up, we do have to tell you about our premier sponsors. First off, we have one of our favorites, Silver Fox Fitness. Bob is the owner. He's dedicated 30 years of his life to teaching at his local YMCA, which is super awesome. Awesome, Bob. Now he's doing some blogs and sharing all of his knowledge on how to stay fit and mobile for a long, happy life. I'm guessing he's going to live to 120. So if you want to be like that, check out his link right now. Silver Fox Fitness is amazing. We also have InstaFarm. InstaFarm is where you can grow fresh, nutritious produce at home with literally no effort other than filling the water. This is an InstaFarm right here. Beautiful, great microgreens. It takes no work. It's awesome. Go grab one today. Link's being dropped. And without further ado, we are going to bring out our first guest to talk about how to improve our spiritual health with yoga. Her name is Avital, and she'll tell you how to pronounce it because she loves doing that. Avital, who are you?
I'm Avital, but Siri thinks my name is Alvital, and if you saw me standing, you would know the humor behind that statement.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell us more about who you are other than just your name.
Okay, so part of this I'll be tall and there's still hope for me. What I consider myself is the person that helps others figure out how to find that tallness, that bigness, that expansiveness. I consider myself an explorer. and galactic experiences creator. And it is through the exploration, investigation, experiences, training of my varied past that brings me to the position to help people live a more ecstatic life, to be more productive at work, to gain what emotional intelligence is, and develop more harmonious relationships, both work and personal, to gain the access to the peace within, but also the success outwardly. So I come from having an engineering degree, being a program manager at Microsoft, being a fitness director, being a teacher trainer, being a sales and marketing director at a book publishing company, running my own business, getting trained in all the yoga and meditation and energy healing, and living in a yoga community for almost 7 years, speaking hundreds of times, as well as working with clients to create that exploration and that depth. I like that you're talking, Lawson, about what challenges are people having, and let us bring you a show. Let us bring you solutions. And I'm always listening
Yeah.
to what are the latest challenges and how do we get through that.
You said that you love to help people get an ecstatic life. Well, tell us what that actually is.
Yeah. Well, an ecstatic is for every single person, but it can start with I need to get a fibroid surgery and I'm told that I'm supposed to change my diet, but that doesn't sound fun. So, how are we going to get you to change your habits, and how are we going to make that more fun? What is your relationship with food? Lo and behold, it gets even better and they cancel her surgery because her health improves so much. It could be, I get anxiety attacks. I want a partner and I want a better career. And we go through, I did a lot of neuro linguistic programming primarily with this person, but got him set up on a routine of meditation. And there's no more emergency room. There's this amazing partner who he's traveled to France with, and he keeps up leveling his career.
I love it. All right, Avital, got a really important question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health with yoga,
Mhm.
what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Be honest and go deeper.
Be honest and go deeper. Tell me what you mean by that.
Yeah. First, I want to clarify that when I talk about yoga, I talk about it from the holistic perspective. The physical practice is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So, we are talking about how you can be a person most aligned with who you are. And I lived on the extreme end of what yoga can look like by living in a yoga community for almost 7 years.
Woo,
And yes.
that's a lot of
So
yoga.
what happens there is these are people who are, and we meet myself as well, are meditating generally per day, like at least 2 hours to 5 hours. I mean, it's a really deep practice, but we have tools to help ourselves get deeper into the practice. And the people visiting the community have a very who are regular visitors are doing this regular practice at home, so you don't have to live isolated from the world.
Thank God.
And what's happening though is when you have a deeper level of practice, I just notice a greater sense of inner calm, confidence, and awareness coming out of people with that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think people are ready to hear this, because today so many people have adopted meditation practices or are practicing the physical practice of yoga. And I still notice, like agitation sitting within them. And so what I'm going to encourage is take the next step of meditate a little longer. Like make sure you're doing a breathing practice where you're raising your energy as part of your practice. And you're going to notice even greater results from what you've already been experiencing. But know that generally there's a lot more than what you've already experienced. Now, on the flip side of living in this more extreme environment, What I can also see is people following the rules and following the path without that necessarily being who they are, right? I had to
Ooh.
adapt some things as well. I was 110% on par with all of the rules, and it didn't work for me. They were a little scratching their heads, like, how could this be? You've been doing everything right. Um, so
Took
we
7 years to figure that out, huh?
it took 3.5 years for me to realize something was off, and then another 3.5 years to figure out what that was and take that leap to leave the community and set up a new path for myself, integrating the gifts
All
from
right.
that community that sit with who I
Good.
am and my beliefs, and then creating a new understanding that felt more aligned. So we need to be careful that we don't just follow something, but we really be honest with who we are and learn to tune in better at this point as to what is the path for you. You can use as much guidance from outside as you want, but I'm going to recommend stop following it exactly at this point.
Awesome.
Start figuring out what your path is. There's no one path for everyone.
Awesome, Avital. Well, you kind of already answered where you learned it from. 7 years in a yoga community. So we're going to move on to our next guest. We've got Diva here waiting for us. We're going to bring her on. Hey, Diva, who are you?
Who am I? Such a loaded question. My name is Diva. It is my real name. I get asked that a lot. I am a psychic medium and grief coach. So I help people through their grief journey. And I went through my own. And in the process of dealing with my brother's suicide, I went down a very dark path, dealing with PTSD and subsequent issues with that. And so for almost a decade, I was struggling until there was a paradigm shift in my life where a woman wrote that she had been dealing with PTSD for 43 years and counting. And it was the moment I knew that that could not be my story. And so I made a pact with myself that I would do anything and everything I could to heal. And yoga was part of that trial for me in helping me heal and to mend and to find myself and to reinvent myself through the grief that I was going through. And so that brings me here today. And I realized I could do more than just survive, that I could actually thrive.
Nice.
And so I decided to live my best life. Now I live on an island in the Caribbean, and
woohoo!
Yep.
All right, Diva, I've got a very important question for you.
Awesome.
If I wanted to improve my spiritual health with yoga, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
The best advice I can give in that regard is to shut up and listen.
Ooh, all right. So tell me a little bit more about
that. I found when I first tried yoga, I hated it and I got very angry and I couldn't understand why it was making me angry. And part of it was I wouldn't shut up. I was trying to force myself into what was the expectations of doing yoga and what was the expectations of, that spiritual connection or I was putting too much pressure on myself. And when I finally just said, you know what, just do it, just do it and shut up. And I realized that that's when the transformation started to happen. And so now in my spiritual practice and working with clients, who they're always asking for signs from the universe, signs from their deceased loved ones. I always say, do you stop and just listen? Because we can't receive messages or the things we're supposed to know if we don't take a moment to stop and to listen. And so even when doing yoga, my favorite part is the end. Maybe Avital I can't remember what it's called at the end when you sort of, you lie down and meditate and breathe and it's going to drive me nuts. It's on the tip of my tongue. But that's my favorite part because that in the moment is time for me to assess not just physically how I'm feeling, but emotionally how I'm feeling, where I'm at. And sometimes my best ideas come in those moments.
Maybe even spiritually how you're feeling.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. It really does connect us to our spiritual selves. And we forget to make that a focus.
Avital just told us secretly,
Ah,
telepathically, it's called Shavasana.
yes, that's it.
Just like
That's it. That's my
spiritually came
favorite
into
part.
my head right there. All right, Diva, you kind of told us a little bit. Maybe give us another 20, 30 seconds on where you learned this tip and this piece of advice.
It was going through my own journey, and when we really get honest with ourselves and we really dive into what our journey is supposed to be, rather than what we want it to be, sometimes we try swimming upstream instead of going with the flow. And so that really was a learning curve for me.
Awesome. All right, Diva, we're going to bring out our last guest. Thank you so much for your insightfulness. Next up, we have Lorraine. Lorraine, who are you?
Hey, hopefully you can hear me now still.
I can hear you great.
Awesome. So I am the painless piano coach. I almost lost my ability to play as a teen due to severe carpal tunnel and tendonitis injuries. And fortunately, I was able to regain my ability without surgery by learning how to use biomechanics and proper posture to be able to play piano more artistically and regain my technical skills, even at a higher level than I had had before. So now that is one of my primary missions, working with my own piano clients, is to show people how to use biomechanics and posture to become a better pianist.
I love it. Great. All right. All you pianists out there, come say hi, Lorraine. Lorraine, I have an important question. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health with yoga, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Well, I really love yoga, being a pianist, because it ties in with the biomechanics part of how I teach posture. So I love it for the spiritual side also, because I have learned to use my yoga sessions to embody the pianist and the person that I want to become, to get rid of dread, anxiety, feeling like I'm not good enough, imposter syndrome, and to really use that as a centering start to my day, to just let those thoughts float through. And I actually use yoga as a prayer session too. I call myself a follower of Jesus. And so as I'm doing yoga, I'm praying and releasing those intrusive thoughts, the anxiety, the everything, and focusing on centering myself and becoming more the person that I want to be today.
I love it. I love it. Can you touch a little more on where on your life journey you learned this? Where was that turning moment that you got your piece of advice?
Really integrating yoga as a centering point like this really just happened within the last couple of years, as I've been working with some amazing business coaches who have really given me these ideas of centering and up-leveling, embodying the person that you want to be in 5 years, being that person now and not hoping it'll happen someday. I originally found yoga probably 20 years ago, when I had to choose something for PE in college. And I loved it immediately. And I've just stuck with it ever since. Always tried to find a yoga studio wherever I live. And it's been one of the few constants in my life. So I really love it for that.
Awesome. Lorraine, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to bring everyone out and start our round robin. We'll answer some questions from the audience, talk about each other's tips, all that fun stuff. Let's start it off with Avital. Can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Be honest and go deeper.
All right, Diva, what are your thoughts on that tip?
You know what? That's bang on. That's the
Bang
money
on.
right there.
All right, Lorraine, what are your thoughts on it? Is it also bang on?
I actually couldn't hear her clearly.
Oh, Avital, can you repeat your tip real quick?
Yeah. Be honest with yourself in choosing the right path that's in alignment with who you are. And now that so many of us are meditating, take the next step to go deeper. Meditate longer, meditate more deeply.
Yes, that
Even just
is
5
great.
minutes.
All right, Diva, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Sure. Shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen. Avital, what are your thoughts on that?
I love it. That is one of those examples recently. I was hemming and hawing about my condo in Denver.
Wait, you were hemming and hawing?
Hemming and hawing, which means that I was sitting there trying to, in my mind, make this life work and take actions to, and it wasn't sitting in my body. It wasn't sitting in my body, and I was sitting there torturing myself. Finally, I put it up for sale, and it sold before it was even listed. Like, that's how fast it went.
All right. All right. Lorraine, what are your thoughts on Diva's tip?
Yeah, it's a great one. I think that goes along with not fighting whatever thoughts come into your head, but just letting them flow through and move on, not hanging on to them.
Awesome. All right, Lorraine, can you quickly refresh what your tip was?
My tip was to embody the person that you want to be as you are doing your yoga practice.
Avital, what are your thoughts on that tip?
I feel like that is in alignment with what I was saying about being honest. And there's a phrase that I like to say to people: sing your sweet song. So it's sing your song, but when you truly understand what that is, it comes out more sweetly, more palatable for yourself and other people.
Sing your sweet song. Diva, what are your thoughts on her tip?
I'm very similar to what Avital said. You know, when we tap into who we authentically are, and I think a lot of people struggle with that, right? Because we fight what the societal norms are or what societal expectations are. And so it's a hard practice, and it has to become a practice to shut out the world and to start listening to ourselves. So I think that resonates.
All right, guys, we've got a question from the audience. Lilith is asking, how do you incorporate mindfulness into your yoga sessions?
So does that mean like when we teach a yoga postures class, how do we include mindfulness? And
Sure.
it's very cute in today's society where people have a theme and they say it at the beginning and they say it at the end. And then you forget about it while you're struggling through this practice and hot yoga and lifting weights and playing loud music and doing power yoga and vinyasa all at the same time. That's to me like a, what is it, like a quadruple negative. You just want to do one of those. One of the things that you can think about specifically is not just the end pose, not just matching the magazine cover, but how you're feeling and experiencing and paying attention to your body while you're moving between positions, and then understanding what your body is like once you get into a structure that you might be holding, so that it's in alignment with the structure of your body. So this goes back to me talking and us mentioning here this theme of authenticity and getting into alignment with who you are. So that needs to happen as well with understanding the uniqueness of your body. And it's like sometimes people, they'll complain, I'm not flexible enough, I'm not flexible, I'm not strong. It's not about flexibility. It's about stretching your muscles a little bit more from where they are right now. But all of us have different length bone structures compared to other parts of our body, different amounts of space in each of our joints, right? Our tendons and muscles attach not at the exact place from one body part to the other. So we can't all look the same. And it's a little bit of a shame that the magazine covers in US when yoga came in sort of put people like me who look young and were naturally flexible and can do, I grew up as a gymnast, so I grew up putting my body in these positions, but I am not representative of the entire population. So start with the mindfulness of tuning into your body and the in-between moments. There's you asking how I do it. There's different suggestions for every class depending on the theme. So I'm just giving you one example right now.
All right, we've got another question. We got a question. Yeah, Zafira, can you guys recommend some breathing exercises? Lorraine or Diva, you guys got any tips on that?
I can take this one because I was a voice coach for 25 years. And so one of my big practices was teaching people how to breathe when they're singing or speaking. And it also attributes to anxiety, which I also wrote a book on how to instantly reduce anxiety, and breathing exercises are one of the first things you want to go to. And so
I'm very qualified for breathing exercises.
I know a little bit. So my go-to is called it's a box breathing exercise, and it involves counting, and so it requires some thought, which gets you out of your head because you're counting. So I ask people to lie flat on the floor, knees up to the sky, so that their back is supported. Breathe in through your nose, and you're going to start on a count of 4, and the sequence is 4, 4, 8. So you inhale for 4 counts, hold your breath for 4 counts, and then exhale all that breath on 8 counts. And then you're going to do it again until that feels comfortable. Then bump it up to a 5, 5, 10 sequence. And then bump it up to a 6, 6, 12. And you can keep bumping it up, but it's going to expand the capacity at which you're able to breathe, but it's also going to help reduce anxiety because it gets blood flowing, it gets oxygen in where it gets oxygen flowing that you need. But it also helps, it's like an exercise for your lungs. And so I would do it in the morning and in the evening. And that expanded my lung capacity, not just for singing, but it was also great for me in those moments of anxiety, dealing with PTSD and those panic attacks, where that was what I would go to try and regulate myself.
Awesome. That's a great tip. 4, 4, 8.
May I
5,
add
5, 10?
another value to the breathing exercise that David just shared?
Like 4, 4, 8, 6,000?
You could do 4, 4, 4, 6, 6, 6. She's having you do an exhale that's twice as long as the inhale. And what you're doing when you're exhaling, I mean, you get this, is that you're releasing toxins, but you can think about this in an energetic way, that you're releasing emotions that you no longer need to hold on to. So when she's talking about like help with anxiety, with depression, with shifting your mood, you're letting it go with that nice long exhale. So that's a beautiful practice. Thank you, Deva.
Mm-hmm. It also helps release tension in the muscles.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All that sounds great. All right. We are at the point in our show where we have to come up with a daily challenge. This is a task to improve our spiritual health with yoga. The task must take less than 5 minutes a day. It must cost $0, and it must be available to anyone in the world from North Korea to Iran. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I would throw out, and I'm totally okay with however you guys want to add or modify this, but my starting point idea would be a daily affirmation or mantra to hold on to for whenever those intrusive thoughts do come in as you're doing your practice, so that you can make the shift. No, instead of that intrusive thought, I'm worried about whatever today, or I'm not good enough. I wonder if I can do my job good enough today. To have just a simple, maybe 5-word mantra whenever something upsetting floats through your mind, to shift it to, no, I am capable enough. I know how to do my job, or whatever is appropriate and applicable to you.
Like, I am the golden goose.
Totally.
Any other thoughts on that? I think that the breathing exercise is probably. I mean, so we really want something that can be set for 5 minutes. So we could do a mantra, but I think a breathing exercise is probably pretty solid too. And so both of those are great for spiritual health. How can we tie it into specifically yoga without just saying do the tree pose, which we might have to do? Any thoughts?
One of our themes was about authenticity,
Okay.
and you really need to understand yourself to get there. What I would say to add to before you go into the affirmation is understand why you were saying the negative of that to
Ah.
yourself. So when you
So
notice that thought comes up, ask yourself, for what reason am I thinking that? What purpose does it serve? What does it give me? So you really need to get honest with yourself with that, because then you can make more decisions like, oh, that's not actually a true statement. I can just let that go. Let me go into this affirmation and plant a new seed. Or, oh, I could get that need met in a more healthy way. This way. So that starts to give you a little more information as well. So if you breathe to relax yourself so you can be more open, take a moment to ask yourself, why am I thinking this? And create an affirmation fully in the positive. That could be one way to combine all those ideas. And
yeah,
you can
last
do
week
it in 2 minutes if you wanted.
So something that I have learned to add, that I can add to this, is your psyche, your body always wants to feel safe. So if you are worried that you cannot do something successfully, because you feel safe not being successful at doing that thing, that's your normal pattern, maybe, is holding back and not doing that thing well. So what I've learned is to remind myself that I am safe to do that big thing successfully. And even though it's out of my norm, it is safe to let it become my norm. And so that's what's helped me figure out my why am I stuck in that negative thinking rut, and how to change things to the positive.
Can I sort of put this all together in what I think might be a good challenge?
I would love that very much.
Because there's so much good stuff happening here, and I think if we take it and we simplify it, I think as a challenge, it's a good opportunity for people to try that breathing exercise that I suggested, and lie down on the ground, connect with the earth, connect with your body, do the breathing exercise. Also have the mantra, set the intention before doing the breathing exercise, so that can be what you're thinking about while you're doing the focused breathing. And it ties it all in together, because we are setting the tone for the day. And if we do that first thing in the morning every day, we're setting the tone for what our day is going to be. Like Avital mentioned, it's also about bringing in the energy and raising the energy. And it's about tapping into the authenticity and tapping into your true self, like Lorraine said. And we're expanding physically while connecting to the earth. So there's a lot energetically that's happening there, and it's easy to do first thing in the morning, first thing at night before we go to bed, and it sets the tone for us.
All right. So it's funny. Last week we had a mental health episode, and one of our guests said that when a negative thought enters, right, like the critical energy or whatever, they actually named that. And then they start having conversations with those negative thoughts going, why are you here? And they named it Monica, I believe. Like, why are you here, Monica? Why are you saying that? And I thought that was a really cool tip to like name it, give it a human thing and be like, I don't want you here. Why are you here, Monica? And get that out. So that was kind of cool.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, you name yours Felicia. I support that. All right. So let's definitely do a breathing exercise. We all agree on that, right?
Absolutely.
And so we also all agree on a mantra. What if we do, I mean, I guess we probably should get some yoga in there, right? Can you guys show us a yoga pose? All of you show us a different one for viewers that don't know.
I think though, I mean, just to say that this is your yoga, by the way. Like to do this practice, the breathing is the yoga. But
Okay.
what if
Right.
people come up with a body position that relates to the mantra that they create?
Oh, and okay. All right. It's all coming together. First step, come up with let's do a new mantra, right? Something that you haven't said before. How does that sound?
I would maybe, can I make a suggestion? I would say, a negative thought that someone notices that is repetitive for them, and what is the opposite of that negative thought to turn into the mantra?
Okay, so let's come up with a mantra based on a recent negative thought. On recent negative thoughts. Okay, I like that.
Can I
And then
just
two is
interject something? I know we're talking about 5 minutes, and I do feel like this can be done in 5 minutes, but I just caution going straight into the mantra without the exploration.
okay,
Because you
what's the
can't change
exploration?
something that isn't ready to change. So you need to understand why, Monica is there, why Felicia is there.
Okay, how do we do that? In 30
So
seconds.
You breathe, you say, hello, Monica, why are you here?
You want to do breathing first.
Breathe, yes.
Okay, so
Hello.
the 4-4-8 breathing exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we do what's next?
The hello, Monica. Like, notice the repetitive negative thought you have.
Okay,
Give it a name.
All right, so I guess let's acknowledge repetitive negative thought. Okay.
And then you can give it a name if you want, but say, hello, Monica, why are you here? For what reason? What purpose do you serve? What do you give me?
So breathing first. Okay, ask why negativity is there. And then the fourth thing would be to do the mantra.
The mantra, yeah, and they can do it with the body position if they want.
Reverse
that they feel
the negativity into a positive mantra while doing a pose. We'll just incorporate that, just because. I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, you should do it with a pose, right? You can do an easy one. You can do the standing. You can do the tree stump pose.
The tree stump.
I'm doing it right now. It's so easy. I'm doing the tree trunk pose.
The tree trunk.
All right. How does that challenge sound for you guys?
Sounds good.
All right. So first things first, we're going to I already forgot. So first we're doing the breathing. Okay, so we're getting into our spirituality. Then we're going to think of a negative thought that's been hitting there, like Lorraine said. Then we're going to get that negative thought out and then switch it to a positive, which I think Lorraine also said that too. And then we're going to do the mantra on the positive, counteracting that. And each day you may have a new negative thought. Maybe you have to repeat this because you have a recurring negative thought. And so then you may have to just do that same exercise for a week straight, and hopefully that gets rid of it. Otherwise, you can switch it up if you have multiple different negative thoughts. Sound like a good challenge?
Great.
Yes.
All right, it's official. It's done. That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming out. We're going to wrap this show up. You guys are awesome. Went a little long, but thank you so much, everyone. Go follow them. Go say hi. Go learn some more. They are amazing. Hope you all learned something new. That was a long, great episode. Hope you guys are ready to grow your spiritual health. And with yoga, I got a quick couple shout outs to do, and then we will wrap it up. Again, thank you all for watching so much. It was an awesome time. I want to do a shout out and a thank you to our sponsors, Don Gleason, seasoned expert with 42 years in military and corporate roles. He likes to empower businesses with his Achieve New Heights brand, enhance leadership and communication, sales, and retention. Go check out Don. He's awesome. We also have Elle. Elle is amazing, super smart, neuroscience expert, NLP and communication pro. Offers deep dive into brain function and personal transformation. She's the author, athlete, and founder of TrueSpeak, certified in transformational meditation. Go check out Elle. Links being dropped right now. And last but not least, we have Nikki Nicole, who does the Breaking the Silence podcast. If you are a podcast fan, this one's one you got to go check out. Breaking the Silence podcast was created and founded by Nikki Nicole. She's an author, and she aims to shine the light on everyday people and give them a place to tell their stories.